Good morning. Today we are going to cover section 1.1 of your notes. So one of the things that you want to make sure that you have is that you have all your materials ready to go as you start the class. So you have your pencil, you have your glue stick, you also have a pair of scissors to cut your cutout. You need a red pen, and you also need a highlighter. So just make sure that you guys have your highlighter ready to go. And then we'll start once you are ready. If you need more time to gather your materials, go ahead and pause it. So remember that for your notes, we are always going to start on the left hand side. We're always going to start on the left, and then we're going to continue on the right, just so you guys are able to see all of your notes at the same time. With your ruler, we are going to make a line on the left hand side, kind of a margin. So we're going to use 6 spaces of your small grid. Now if you have larger grid, you probably want to use about 4. In this case, I have the notebook with a smaller grid, so we have 2, 4, 6. You want to make some space, but you don't want it to take over your entire notebook. And now we are going to write down the title on top. Your title is 1.1, it's section 1.1, and I'll be solving simple equations. Make sure that you guys are using a pencil. And now your essential question for today. Make sure to write down your essential question. Will be, how can we use simple equations to solve real life applications or real life problems. And now we are going to glue your card. The card that we're going to be using is to say 1.2. We're actually going to use it for this section. So get your glue stick. Make sure that you are gluing the corners, and you're applying the glue all the way through the corners, because otherwise it's not going to stick. If by any chance you don't have a glue stick, you can also tape it, but I really prefer for you guys to use glue stick. It looks a little nicer, neater. And what the cutout is going to allow us to do is to be able to go over the definition a little more clearly, and that way you have to write a little bit less. So let's read through the cutout. An equation is a statement that 2 expressions are equal. So we have 2 expressions, and in between is going to have an equal sign. So that is the definition of an equation. It must have an equal sign. If it does not have an equal sign, then that is an expression. And notice that this didn't glue too well, so I want to make sure that it stays there. So I want to glue all the way through. There you go, much better. A linear equation in one variable is an equation that can be written in the following form, where we have a, b, and c are going to be real numbers, are going to be called constants, and x is going to be the variable. That is what we're trying to leave by itself. And we also don't want a to be 0, because otherwise if it's 0, then it kind of disappears, so we don't have an equation. A solution of an equation is a value that makes the equation true. And we're going to check some of our answers. So let's start with example number 1. To start with example number 1, is write the instructions down. And you must write down the instructions, just like I am doing right now. Solve, then check each answer. Then check your answer. So on the first 2 columns, we are going to make sure that the answer is correct by plugging it in. We are going to start with letter A, which is 2x minus 1, and that is equal to negative 9. And I'm going to leave some space, and then I'm going to write down letter B, which will be negative 3 equals negative 4y plus 5. And for each one, I'll be checking my answer. Now, if you need more time to write it down, go ahead and pause it, and then we'll continue once you're ready. So therefore, we have two expressions with an equal sign in between. And to solve it, I'm going to draw a line with a red pen. And all of you guys should have a red pen with you. And I'm trying to leave the x by itself. So therefore, I need to get rid of the 2 and the negative 1. So in order to leave the x by itself, I need to be able to get rid of the 2 and the negative 1. And I need to decide which one should I get rid of first, the 2 or the negative 1. We should get rid of the negative 1 first. Just like order of operations, first the one that's further away, the negative 1, the subtraction, and then the multiplication. So therefore, in order to get rid of the negative 1, we always going to do the opposite to be able to undo it. So in this case, it's a negative 1. So we're going to add 1 on both sides. So we're going to do it plus 1 and plus 1. The same way that you guys did it last year in 8th grade. So now we are going to draw the line, and we have 2x equals negative 9 divided by 1. So now we're going to use the material that we covered for adding integers. You need to think, do they have the same sign or different signs? They have different signs, so we're going to subtract. And we are going to keep the sign of the bigger number. Which one's bigger? The negative 9 or the 1? The negative 9 is negative, or the 9 is bigger, so we're going to keep the negative. And now, I need to leave the x by itself. The 2 and the x are adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. The 2 and the x are multiplying. So what is the opposite of a multiplication? Division. So we're going to divide by 2 on both sides. So therefore, we usually say that they cancel. They usually don't cancel. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then we have an x. But because we usually don't write down the coefficient of 1, we say that the 2's cancel, so therefore we have x equals, so we just write down an x and we say that the 2 and the 2 cancels each other out. What's negative 8 divided by 2? 8 divided by 2 is 4, and negative divided by positive, we are using our triangle. A negative divided by positive will give me a negative, so my answer is negative 4. But now I need to check it. I want to confirm that this is correct. So we are going to check. And because the solution of an equation is the value that will make the equation true, when I plug in the negative 4 instead of the x, it should give me a negative 9 on the left hand side. So therefore, let's set up just like we did on the last lesson. We are going to set up 2 times x minus 1 equals negative 9. But now instead of the x, I'm going to replace it with a negative 4. And now I'm just going to simplify. 2 times negative 4 will give me negative 8. Minus 1 will give me negative 9. Notice that I'm just going to simplify the left hand side, and then I'm going to bring down the negative 9. Yeah. So you need to think, is that a true statement? Is negative 9 equal to negative 9? Yes. So that made the equation true. Let's go to problem number, letter B. I'm trying to leave the y by itself in order to solve for y. I'm going to place a line on my equal sign. And now I need to get rid of the negative 4 and the 5 in order for the y to be by itself. So which one should I get rid of first? The negative 4 or the 5? The 5. So now I can do the opposite. It's adding, so therefore I'm going to subtract. And I can do minus 5 and minus 5. So let's do that. Or we're going to follow a different process on the next example, because it's going to make it a little easier. For now, let's do minus 5 and minus 5. Because the 5 minus 5 gives us 0. So it says that we said that it cancels. Same way that it says that this one's cancel as well. So negative 3 minus 5 will give me negative 8. And that is equal to negative 4y. And now I can divide by negative 4. So negative 4 and the y are multiplying. So now the last step is to divide by negative 4. Divide by negative 4. The 4's cancel. The negatives cancel. So therefore we have y equals negative 8 divided by negative 4 is positive 2. Remember that we are using our triangle. Negative divided by negative will give me a positive. And now I need to check it. I want to confirm that that is the correct answer. And you can do this every single time. We can plug it in and see if it makes the equation above true statement. So let's go and write down check. And if you can write it down in red, just the word check, not everything, but just the word check, it's easier to read your notes. Especially if your writing is a little messy, just like mine, and I'm trying to make it a little neater, then just by doing the red pen, it makes it a little nicer. So now, instead of the y, I'm going to replace it with a 2. So let's go and set up the equation. So we have negative 3 equals negative 4y plus 5. And now instead of the y, I'm going to replace it with a 2. But notice that I set up first and then I can plug it in. Negative 3 comes down. I'm just going to simplify that side. And according to this, if that is the correct solution, it should give me a negative 3. That's it. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And plus 5, they have different signs, so I'm going to subtract. And I'm going to keep the sign on the bigger number. That comes out. So therefore, is that true or false? That is true. So therefore, 2 is the correct solution. So let's go and make a line. I'm going to skip one space, or you can skip 2. Let's go make this one space is sufficient. And that way we can fit all the notes. And just make sure that you make a line across between each of the examples as I do it. Just it's going to help you guys organize. It's going to look easier to read and look much nicer. So now let's go and write down example number 2. On example number 2, we are just going to solve. And I'm going to minimize the amount of instructions I need to write down. But so just write down solve and example 2a. On example 2a, we have 7 minus 2p is equal to negative 1. And I need to solve the equation. So what should be the first thing that we do? Red line. So therefore I want to draw a vertical red line across the equal sign. So therefore we have one side and we have the other side. And now our purpose is to be able to leave the p by itself. So in order to be able to leave the p by itself, I need to get rid of the 7 and the negative 2. So which one should I get rid of first? Correct. I should get rid of the 7. I can do minus 7 and minus 7 just like I did on the last example. Or I can move my 7, and that's what I'm going to start to do. When I move things to the other side, it becomes a negative 7. So it's always going to become the opposite. That's going to allow us to be able to do things a little faster. So that's a positive 7. If I move it to the right, it becomes the opposite, so it'll be a negative 7. I'm going to draw the line. Or if you want, you can do minus 7 and minus 7. Both ways work pretty well. So that is negative 2p equals negative 8. And now I'm going to divide by negative 2. So the negative 2 and the p are multiplying, so the opposite is to divide. So therefore the 2's cancel, the negatives cancel, and now I have p equals negative 8 divided by negative 2 will be 4, positive 4. Remember, a negative divided by a negative gives me a positive. Using your triangle, negative divided by negative gives me a positive. So let's try letter B. On letter B, we are going to have 7, negative 4, x plus 5 equals 2. And now we are going to solve it once again. So let's go and draw the line. I'm trying to leave the x by itself. So therefore, I need to get rid of the negative 4 and the 5. Which one should I get rid of first? Correct. I should get rid of the 5 first. I'm going to circle it and I'm going to move it to the other side. It's a positive 5. When I move it to the other side, it becomes a negative 5. So therefore, I'm going to draw the line. The negative 4x will come down. I'll place it right over here before I make my equal sign. And 3 minus 5 will give me different signs. So you're going to subtract and you're going to keep the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number is 5, so it'll be negative. And one last step. The last step is to divide. So therefore, I'm going to divide by negative 4 and divide by negative 4. Because the 4s will cancel and also the negatives are going to cancel. So therefore, we have x equals. Negative divided by negative is going to be positive. And what's 2 divided by 4? 2 divided by 4 is 1/2, correct. Remember that your bigger number is on the denominator, so therefore this is going to be less than 1. So what number divides 2 and also divides 4? I'm going to divide each one by 2. I'm going to reduce it by 2. And what I do on the numerator, I'm going to do on the denominator. So 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1 fraction. 4 divided by 2 will give me 2. So your answer is 1/2. Now, if we want, we can also check our answers just like we did above. Pretty simple, right? 2-step equations. So let's go and try letter C and letter D. And let me give myself a little more space. So for letter C, try the following. 6x plus 7 equals to 3. Go ahead and pause it. Then solve it by yourselves. See what you get, and then we can compare our answers. Got it? So go and pause it. Excellent. So at this point you have already solved it. I'm going to go and draw the line. I need to leave the x by itself, so I'm going to need to get rid of the 6 and the 7. So I'm going to get rid of the 7 first. Move the 7 to the right because say it's a positive, negative 7. And now that is 6x equals. Different signs, so I need to subtract. That gives me a 4. I'm going to keep the sign of the bigger number, so the bigger number is 7, so it'll be negative 4. And the last step is to divide by 6. The 6 cancels, so therefore x equals 4 divided by 6. Well, 6 is the bigger number, so 6 doesn't go into 4, but we can reduce it. We know that the number is going to be less than 1. So therefore, 4 divided by 6 we can. So what is the biggest number that divides 4 and also divides 6? 2. So I'm going to divide by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. Negative divided by positive is going to be a negative. So that'll be correct answer. Remember that you want to make sure that you reduce your fractions. Let's try the next one. We have negative x minus 2 is equal to negative, let's just make it negative 1. Go and solve it and see what you get. Go and pause it and see if you can figure out how to solve that type of problem. Go and pause it. You got it? Excellent. So in this case, I need to be able to leave the x by itself. So I need to get rid of the negative 2 and also the negative. So first I'm going to get rid of the negative 2. I'm going to move it to the right. You can say positive 2. Or you can do plus 2 and plus 2. I'm going to draw the line. That gives me a negative x equals 1. Remember, different signs, so you subtract and you keep the sign of the bigger number. The 2 is the bigger number, so it stays positive. Now, there's no number here. There's no coefficient. What is the coefficient? Right. If there's no number, automatically there's a 1 in there. And now I can divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1. The 1 cancels, the negative cancels, so therefore x equals 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. Let's try example number 3. So right underneath, you should be able to make a line. We want to skip a space. I'm going to make a line all the way through to separate my examples. Example number 3, solve. We're going to have a and b. Now we're going to be dealing with fractions. A. We have n over 2 minus 3 is equal to negative 7. Go and pause it if you need more time. Now, to solve it, we're going to go through exactly the same process. So the process will be the same in the logical steps. First, what should be my first step? Draw the line. So I'm going to draw the line. And I'm trying to leave the n by itself. So I need to get rid of the 2 and the negative 3. Which one should I get rid of first? Correct. I should get rid of the negative 3. You can do plus 3 on both sides, but I prefer to just move my 3 to the right and becomes the opposite. So we can say positive. It makes the process just a little bit faster as we go into more challenging problems. I'm going to go and draw the line. I'm going to bring down my n over 2 comes down equals. What is negative 7 divided by 3? They have different signs. So we're going to subtract, and you're going to keep the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number is 7, so it's negative 7. And now I'm trying to get rid of the 2. So I need to think, okay, what is the n and the 2 doing? Are they adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? They're dividing, correct? So what is the opposite of a division? Multiplication. So therefore, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. The 2's cancel, so we have n equals negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Now, if we want to check it, it's a quick process. We can plug in a negative 8 in here. Divide by 2 is negative 4. Minus 3 will give me negative 7. But for now, we can just solve it. Well, let's go and focus our energy and time on learning how to solve equations. Letter B. So we have 1 plus 3d over 4 is equal to 5. So notice that your variables can be anything. It doesn't have to be an x. So it can be an n, a d, an x, a y, a p. D for ds, so we're going to use d this time. So therefore, I'm going to go and draw the line. And I'm trying to leave the d by itself. That means I need to get rid of the 1 and the 4. So which one should I get rid of first? Correct. I should get rid of the 1. I'll move my 1 to the right. It's a positive, we can say negative. I'm going to draw the line underneath. And you want to make sure that you draw the line on this step because it helps you organize your work. So now we have 3d over 4 equals 5 minus 1 gives me 4. And now, I need to get rid of the 3 and the 4. Which one should I do first? Now, you can do them all at the same time. But for my class, and for now, we're going to do one at a time. I'm going to get rid of the division. So the 4 is dividing, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 4, because the opposite of division is multiplication, and they are going to cancel. We have 3d is equal to 4 times 4 is 16. And now just one easy step, which is to divide by 3. Now I'm going to divide by 3 and divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Or we say that they cancel. So actually, they don't cancel. They just give you a 1. But we actually just said d equal 16 divided by 3. 3 goes into 16 evenly, no, right? So this is what we call, what type of fraction is this? This is an improper fraction. We are going to change it to a mixed fraction. 3 goes into 16 5 times. We're going to still have the fraction. The denominator stays the same. And 5 times 3 is 15. How many more to get to 16? 1 more. So therefore, that is correct. Now, if I want to double check my answer, then I can just plug it in and see if that's a true statement. Let's go and go over to example number 4. We're going to do 4, 5, and then we'll be done with the notes. Now, since we're going over on the right-hand side, then I'm going to make another 2, 4, 6. I'm going to make 4 spaces for my margin so I can write little notes. It helps you guys to be able to kind of spread out your notes in there. It doesn't look so busy. Make sure you get a ruler. That'll be very helpful. You can get a smaller one or you can get something that's a little larger. I usually prefer the smaller ones. It's easier to rotate on the paper. Example number 4. Solve A and B, and then we'll continue to example number 5, and that'll be it for today. On example number 4, we're going to continue solving equations with fractions. See if you can do the following. We have negative 2p over 7 plus 7 is equal to 5. So first, what is my first step? Correct. My red pen. I'm going to draw the line. Go ahead and see if you can solve it. Follow example number 3b. Go and pause it and see what you get. You got it? So now I need to get rid of the negative, the 2, the 7, and the 7. So which one should I get rid of first? I'm going to get rid of this plus 7. I'm going to move it to the other side. It's a positive 7 becomes a negative 7. So now I have negative 2 over 7p is equal to 5 minus 7 will give me a 2, and keep the sign of the bigger number. Which is bigger? The 7, so it stays as negative. Now I need to get rid of the negative 2. Now notice that I'm going to place the negative as part of the 2 and not part of the 7. So whenever you have a fraction that's negative 2 over 7, the negative can belong to the numerator, negative 2 over 7, or the negative can belong to the denominator, 2 over negative 7. But can it belong to both? Well, if it's negative, it cannot belong to both, because otherwise a negative times a negative becomes a positive. So therefore, I'm going to assume that it belongs to the top fraction. I need to get rid of the negative 2 or the 7. Which one should I get rid of first? 7 will be easier. So I'll multiply by 7 on both sides. So the 7 cancels out. So I have negative 2p is equal to negative 14. And one last step, which is to divide by negative 2. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. My 2's cancel, my negatives cancel. So therefore, p is equal to negative divided by negative gives me a positive. 14 divided by 2 gives me 7. Make sure that you box in your answers just like I'm doing, and make sure that you do that also on your homework. Letter B, we have negative 2 plus n over 5 is equal to negative 7. So go and pause it, work it out, and see what you get. Pause it. Excellent. So what should be the first step? So we're going to draw the line. Next, I need to get rid of the negatives 2 and the 5. So which one? Negative 2. Move the negative 2 to the right, becomes a positive 2. Now I have n over 5 equals negative 5. And now I'll be getting rid of the 5. The 5 is dividing, so the inverse or the opposite is to multiply. So we're going to multiply by 5 on both sides. The 5's cancel out, so therefore n equal to negative 25. Negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. Excellent. And the last example for today. The last example will be a word problem. We have example number 5. And it goes something like this. A discounted concert ticket so one that's been discounted is 1450 less than the original price, which will be P. So notice that they tell you that you have to use the variable P for price, and we should try to be able to match what it means. You pay $53 for a discounted value, for a discounted ticket. The question is, what is the price what is the original price of the ticket? So how much did the ticket cost before the discount? Now, I know that some of you guys are very logical, you can do it without an equation, but for today, we're going to do a quick equation. So how would the equation look like? We know that we have to use P for the price. So the price, the original price, which is P, plus or minus the discount, minus the discount, which is 14.50, should be equal to the amount that you paid because you already bought it at a discounted price, which is $53. And now we can solve the equation. So therefore, I'm going to go and place my line through it. I'm going to solve for P, move my negative 1450 to the right, because say positive 1450. Or you can do plus 1415 on both sides. So therefore, the original price was 0.576. So it cost $67.50 before you bought it, before the discount. So this will conclude the lesson for today. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.